So with double credit weekend coming at the end of November, I thought that there was no better time to introduce the best credit methods in Warframe for each and every player. During this video, we're going to go over a couple of different methods in order for you to optimize as much credits as you can possibly get during this double credit weekend, how to go about doing it for each level of the game. So first things first, credits are Warframe's main currency used for just about everything. You're going to use credits on crafting weapons, building warframes, any kind of gear, any kind of imprints that you're going to build. Literally everything in the game circuits around credits. Just using prime mods alone, upgrading one prime mod, you're going to spend about 2 million credits. So as you get deeper in the Warframe, credits become more and more essential for crafting and developing your gameplay. Now, there are multiple different utilities that you can use to increase the amount of credits you get, like credit boosters, credit blessings, double credit weekend, like that's going to be at the end of this month, and prosperous retriever mod. Now, these all do stack together. So say, for example, you have 500,000 credits that you're going to get from this particular drop, and then you get it with a double booster, you get it with a blessing, and maybe it's even a double credit weekend, and your prosperous retriever hits. You could be talking about over 2 million credits in a run. And on a couple of these different methods as well, you can use Chroma's fourth ability, Effigy, which doubles the credits you pick up in a 10-meter radius. So another double on top of it, and these all stack together. In this video, we're going to go over a few ways to farm credits. Make sure to stick to the end for a very in-depth guide on the best credit farm in the entire game, which could easily net you over 12 million credits per hour. So first things first, let's go over our early game farm, very cookie cutter farm. The number one thing I can recommend to you is doing any dark sector missions. What do dark sector missions do, Thack? Well, dark sector missions are infested control missions on non-infested planets. These missions have a resource drop chance and a bonus affinity gain, but also they give you extra credits on completing the mission. Now, a little tip I'm going to give you all that a lot of people don't know about is the very first mission of the day, the very first mission after your daily reset login will be double credits every single time. So really what you want to do is if you're an early game player, what you really want to do is do a dark sector survival or defense, something that you can push for longer waves, and the longer you do it, the more credits that you're going to get from that, and it's going to double at the end of this. You can easily break over 100,000 credits if you do this properly, but this is more of an early game farm. This still works for all of the late game farms as well. Your very first mission is going to give you double no matter what, so even if you're an early, mid to late game player, definitely utilize this to your advantage. Now, in terms of like a mid game farm, which I would say it's almost mid to early game as well, because you unlock this on Neptune, we are talking about none other than the high index. Now, the index essentially is a pay to play with credits. So you put in a certain amount of credits, and there's 3 different stages to the index. You have a low index, a medium index, and a high index. The low index, you wager 30,000 credits. The medium, you wager 40,000 credits. And the high index, you wager 50,000 credits. Now, on the low index, you get a return of 105,000 credits. The medium, you get a return of 175,000. And the high index, you get a return of 250,000 credits. The game modes are the exact same. It's just that there's difficulty between them that rises through the ranks. But in my opinion, you have no business doing anything other than the high index. You don't want to do medium or low, because if you're going to put the time into going and farming credits, you might as well do the one that you're getting the most amount of credits for, in my opinion, because the difficulty doesn't change too drastically. If you've got a proper build, you got a proper build. What you do in the high index, however, you're just going to kill opponent enemies. Each opponent that you kill will drop a certain point. As you collect these points, you start getting debuffs. So one of the debuffs is you get less health, and another one is your energy drain starts to slowly rack up. The more points, the stronger the debuff is. Now, as you stack up these points, however, you actually start to get bonus points. Once you hit 20 total, that is your max amount of bonus points that you will get. So once you get to 20 points held at a singular time, your bonus will go up to 10 extra points, but you never want to go over 20 collected, because all it's going to happen is your debuff is going to get stronger and you're going to get no extra bonus points. There's nothing past 20, so you collect 20 at a time and deposit, and that is that. You've also got a timer that you have to pay attention to in the corner, and that timer will raise depending on how many points are deposited. So what I typically do is at the start of the mission, I'll get about like 10 points or something. I deposit it so my timer is at a point where I don't feel rushed collecting the rest of them, and then I'll go ahead and collect about 20, deposit, 20, deposit. And if you're doing this by yourself, the game actually gives you specters to go with you, which makes it a lot easier to do this method, because even if you're by yourself, you're still going to have some help from the other specters. Now, you don't really need a specific build for Index per se, but there's a couple of frames that I want to recommend that will make this way easier. I really recommend having a Rhino or a Revenant, normal or prime. As a new player, getting Rhino is so easy. You literally get it on the first planet that you unlock, so I highly recommend Rhino. If you're using Rhino, you want to build for a little bit of strength and definitely some efficiency. Make sure you use like Streamline and Fleeting Expertise if you can. This is just going to allow you to cast your abilities a lot more as a new player, and it's going to help you just get through this mission really easily. Also, one last thing, credit boosters and blessings do work for the Index. A lot of people don't realize this, but if you have a credit booster and you have a blessing, you can make hundreds of thousands of credits very easily, and this is relatively new player region area kind of coverage right here. So once you make it further into the game and you complete the 1999 Hex quest, it will give you access to Holovania. In Holovania missions, you can find Techrot safes. These can be opened with a biocode located nearby. You can find them by their blue glow and by the humming noise whenever they're in close proximity. This key can also be pinged on your HUD by using the Orkan Eye air support from the Parallax ship. If you don't have the Parallax ship, I highly recommend y'all build it, man. This Parallax ship just pings all of the loot in like a huge radius essentially, and it is so helpful, and it will help you on so many things just outside this credit method as well. Definitely get the Parallax if you don't have it yet. Also though, using loot radar mods like Thief's Wit or Animal's Instinct extend the range that you can see the cache from, so make sure to have those mods on if you can. Once you have found the biocode, bring it to the safe and open it. It will reward you with an arcane, but also 100,000 credits. And unlike the previous farms, this drop is affected by Chroma's Effigy and the companion Prosperous Retriever mod. So the reason these two didn't work for Index is because it's a mission reward at the end of the mission. When it's dropping out of the safe, it's actually dropping on the floor. So your companion can actually proc the Prosperous if it hits that 18%, which is going to double it. And Chroma's ability also works too, because it's considered a loot drop, and Chroma's ability works on loot drops. So that's kind of how those two things work. I suggest doing the capture mission since its objective is fast to complete. Technically, you can do any missions in the 1999 region, but it just doesn't really make sense to do anything other than the capture, because you can get in, get out, and farm it as efficiently as possible. And it's also very easily to do solo. But if you have friends, they can help by killing enemies and giving speed boosts, which help a lot. If you have access to on-call crew as well, you can toss that down with the Kuvazar on the main capture point, and then you can just leave the objective and then go look for the cache so that your objective's getting complete, and then you get the cache, and then you can leave the mission. Let's get into the best farm in Warframe, and it's not even close. It's not even comparable. This is the best credit farm that you can possibly do in the entire game. What is that farm you're talking about, Thacker? We are talking about the Profit Taker. Now, I'm going to say, if you are going to efficiently farm the Profit Taker, the setup for this mission is pretty extensive. You're going to have to put a lot of resources and time into getting these builds, but this is why it's the utmost latest of game content. But if you do invest the time and resources into getting these builds, you will not regret it. I'm talking about you can get upwards to 1 million to 2 million credits every 2 to 3 minutes. Just like that. On top of getting free rad relics, free rare mods, and free Fortuna standing as well. So how do you unlock Profit Taker, Thack? Well, you unlock Profit Taker at rank 5 with the Solaris United Syndicate. This will unlock new special bounties that will lead to the Profit Taker boss fight. Before you can damage the Profit Taker, you need to take down his shield. The shield is only damageable by the element that is shown. So he's going to show a big element on his face, and whatever that element is, you have to shoot him with that, and if you don't have it, you're just out of luck. Once completing taking down the shield though, you call in your Archgun and damage her legs and work up her main body. Then the Prophet Taker will recover and deploy pylons, which will make her immune until all pylons are destroyed. Once the pylons are destroyed, she will be vulnerable to Archgun damage again, just like earlier. Repeat the process until the boss is defeated. Then you retrieve the loot and escape the vicinity as soon as possible, as it will self-destruct with a lethal range of 300 meters, annihilating any Tenno in the radius as well as the loot it is dropped. The boss will drop at base 5 25,000 credit bundles for a total of 125,000 credits, which can increase with all kinds of modifiers. What modifiers might you be asking? Well, let's calculate how much credits we can get from this. So we have this spreadsheet set up for you guys if you would like to calculate it. We'll have this linked in the Discord. That'll be the second link in the description. Highly recommend y'all join the Discord, by the way. We are truly trying to build the best Warframe community in the entire game. We've got 4,300 members already in here. We cover all kinds of things in the Discord, like arbitrations. You all know how big we are in arbitrations. We've got the best arbitration guide on that. We cover cascades. We do Kubro breeding. We have the different builds in here, and we're gonna have the credit farm method as well in here, so y'all know how to farm credits efficiently. Where there is 5 different credits that get dropped on the ground, you technically have 5 different chances for your prosperous or your loyal retriever to proc, because each drop has an 18% chance once picked up to double. So technically you get 5 chances for this to proc. Is that gonna happen? Probably never. If that happens, highly recommend y'all hit the casino IRL. Now let's just say there is no weekend. There's no weekend booster. Womp womp. We're sad right now. And all you have is a relay blessing, the Chroma effigy, and a regular credit drop booster. You're going to be averaging about 700,000 every single run. And this can go even over 1 million if you get super lucky. And whenever this double credit weekend's coming up, that whole entire weekend, I am going to be running Prophet Taker carries. I'm going to be carrying my viewers and the people in the Discord. And all they have to do is just join me, and they're going to be making millions of credits for free just for literally twiddling their thumbs. They don't even have to shoot an enemy. So now let's go over the loadout we are using to farm Prophet Taker. For obvious reasons, we are going to be running Chroma. And if it's not obvious, it's because his 4th ability can double the amount of credits that you pick up, essentially. If you're by yourself, you're obviously going to be running Chroma for this. And if you have a team, all you need is 1 Chroma, so you can fill in for like a Volt or an Octavia, just something that can do a little bit of DPS if you want your teammates to actually help. But once you get the method down, you can solo this, essentially. So on Chroma, you use Steel Charge to make your melee do more damage on Prophet Taker. You're going to run Preparation, so you start the mission with max energy, and you don't even have to bother using an energy pad for this. Primed Flow for more max energy, Narrow-Minded for ability duration, Umbral Vitality for more health, Umbral Intensify, Transient Fortitude, and Blind Rage for ability armor. You'll also want Hunter Adrenaline, which helps keep your energy up, and Subsume Shock on Chroma's 1 and equip the Shock Trooper Augment so we can have extra elements on our weapon. Super important, so we have electric covering the Prophet Taker. You also want to use Arcane Avenger for critical chance and Arcane Guardian, which is going to give you more armor for survivability. On Chroma, you can use 2 secondary crit chance shards, 2 casting speed shards, and 1 blue health regeneration shard. And since we're not using Prime Sure-Footed, you want to use the Uneru Focus School for the knockdown resistance. Now, since we subsumed our first ability, we can't rotate the element for Elemental Ward. But if we make our emissive color green, we will spawn with the element set to Toxin. Elemental Ward gives us reload speed and holster damage when using the Toxin element. Also, equipping a Decaying Dragon Key makes us lose shields, but making it easier to take health damage for Vex Armor. Vex Armor increases your weapon's damage when losing health. For our primary, we're going to use the Kuva Ogris with whatever valence element you wish to use. Only the percent matters. This weapon is mainly used to destroy the pylons. The mods that you're going to want on your Kuva Ogris is Nightwatch Napalm, which will hit the pylons through their dome. You're going to want Split Chamber and Vigilante Armaments for multi-shot, Serration for damage, Vile Acceleration for fire rate, and terminal velocity so the projectile gets to the pylon faster. Tainted Mag and Magnetic Capacity makes the Ogris have 6 shots in the magazine, which is perfect for the 6 pylons in the second phase, and the Ammo Drum for more ammo maximum. For your primary damage dealing weapon, which is actually a secondary weapon, so sorry for the confusion, but you're going to be using the Sicarus with the Incarnon. The Sicarus is your main weapon to destroy the Prophet Taker's shields. We want to get as many elements on it as we can, so we have Magnetic Might for magnetic, Accelerated Isotope for radiation, Ice Storm and Toxin makes viral, and Primed Heated Charge for heat. We're going to want Amalgam Barrel Diffusion for multi-shot. There's really no point in Galvanized Diffusion because you're not going to be getting enough kills to upkeep Galvanized mods. Primed Expel Corpus for more damage against corpus like the Prophet Taker, and Eject Magazine is nice so the weapon will reload itself when holstered. You'll also want Secondary and Everett, which just kind of helps out with crit a little bit. Now on the Incarnon, you're going to want the following evolutions: Fainted Retreat, Extended Volley, and Commodrone's Fortune. We can also use our melee to damage the Prophet Taker's shield. If you craft a Zal, we can make use of the Exodia Contagion Arcane. Exodia Contagion allows us to shoot a projectile when we melee in the air. This is extremely important for getting the remainder of those elements that your Sicarus doesn't cover. So for this Zal that we're going to craft, we are going to use the Ball of Strike for its attack speed and crit chance. With the Pi, Grip, and the Varjeet 2J link, make sure not to get the Varjeet J2. It sounds the exact same, but it's actually 2 completely different links. On the Zal, we have Primed Fury and Quickening for attack speed, which makes you swing faster. Primed Fever Strike and Molten Impact makes gas. North Wind for cold. Sacrificial Steel for crit chance. Organ Shatter for crit damage. And Primed Smite Corpus for more damage to corpus. And Melee Exposure, which also adds corrosive damage after casting an ability. The Exodia Contagion will also do blast damage. Now for your companion that you're going to want to run, you're going to want to use the Adarza Kavat. The reason being is this gives you a crit buff for the cat's eye, and it's just going to allow you to do more crit chance with your weapons essentially. Also make sure to use Prosperous Retriever mod for that 18% of the doubling credit pickups. Tenacious Bond is also nice to have. Just make sure your claws have over 50% crit chance. Now moving on to your Archgun. There are a few good options like the Corvus Prime and the Velocious, but the Prisma Dual Decarons is a lot more forgiving and can still do sub 2-minute runs. Slap on Primed Rubido lined barrel for damage, Prime dual rounds for multi-shot, hollowed bullets for crit damage, critical focus for crit chance and damage when aiming, automatic trigger for fire rate, containment breach for radiation and multi-shot, combining electrified barrel and polar magazine makes magnetic, which do 1.5 times more damage to corpus. The Prophet Taker is a corpus enemy, by the way. Primary Merciless for the 30% reload speed, and secondary and Everett for the critical chance. If you want to get a Riven, you want to look for stats like damage to corpus, multi-shot, crit damage, or an element like cold or electric. In the mission, you can use the Necramech to shoot the Archgun. You don't really need a specific build for it, but survivability mods are a big help. If you find yourself struggling taking down the boss with your Archgun, you can also just use the Archgun deployer and shoot it while keeping the weapon buffs from your Chroma's Vex armor. With all the builds that we have provided, you are covering every single element in the game other than Toxin. The way that we're going to get Toxin is by using it on an on-call crew with an Opticore Vandal and just have that Opticore Vandal modded for Toxin. Or if you must, you can switch into your Operator and you can shoot the Prophet Taker to switch the element. You really don't want to do this for any other element other than Toxin, but sometimes it's just more convenient when the Toxin pops up to switch into your Operator, shoot it real quick, and continue on with the boss fight. Now you've got your loadout ready. It is time to farm the Prophet Taker. Congratulations, man. I know it was a long setup, but I promise you, it is worth it. Before you go into this mission, you probably want to set your squad to invite only so you don't queue with random people. Randoms often take a lot of time to get to extraction, making the loading screen longer as well. So once you're through the elevator, pop your Archwing and fly to the Prophet Taker boss. You can equip Hyperion thrusters on your Archwing to get there faster. When you arrive at the boss, you can melee to leave your Archwing and activate your Shock Elemental Ward and Vex armors and start taking down the shields with your Sicarus. And if your Sicarus isn't doing it, then you use your melee, because your melee is going to cover the other elements other than Toxin, which your crew member will take care of. Or if you just want to swap into your operator and shoot them, you can do that as well. Once you have completely taken down the boss's shield, you can summon your Void Rig and take down the boss's legs. And after all legs are down, you shoot the main body. Now the boss will deploy those pylons that we're talking about, and you're just going to fly up in the air with your Archwing, and you're going to shoot it with your Ogris. Don't forget to recast Vex armor before the Archwing though, because you need to have stacks of that in order to one-shot the pylons. If you don't have the armor, you're going to have to put 2 shots of your Ogris into it, so you're going to be required to reload your Ogris. After the 4 pylons are destroyed, you get back into your Void Rig and start taking down the legs again, and then the main body. Now you need to take down the shield again like earlier, then shoot the legs again just like earlier. It's repeating the steps just with a little extra to it, just a little, like an extra pylon, a little bit of extra damage. That's all it is. The exact same steps and mechanics stay the same throughout the whole boss fight. When you defeat the boss, she will stumble a bit and fall forward, and I'm going to say this in the least Diddy way possible. The Prophet Taker is literally going to drop it like it's hot, and you're going to want to run up to its hind end, like behind the boss, and you're going to want to put down Chroma's force. So wherever it kind of drops its tail on the very first one, and it takes a little bit of practice to understand what I'm talking about. You've got to see the Prophet Taker drop it like it's hot a couple times to really get the spotting down. But you're going to come behind it, and you're going to drop your 4, and as long as your 4 is casted on the pile that everything comes out on, you are going to completely optimize the amount of credits that you're going to get for this. Once you pick up the loot, fly back to Fortuna, so you don't have to wait for the cutscene that it's going to give you, because you're literally going to be waiting longer on the cutscene than it took for time to actually kill the boss. So L cutscene, just skip the cutscene and go back to Fortuna. But ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, these are the credit methods that I have given y'all. And listen, if y'all have made it to the end of the video before you click off, we are going to bless up 5 people in the comment section with 30-day double credit boosters. This is a 1,000 plat offer. 5 people are going to win this. All you have to do is leave a like, comment, and tell me what method you're looking forward to, or if I missed any methods that you like to do that are sneaky. I don't think I did. I think I covered them all. But if I did, let me know. If not, tell me what you're looking forward to doing, which credit method you want to do. Make sure you're subbed to the channel. We are so close to 20,000 subs, and I'm just so grateful for each and every single one of y'all. If y'all have any video recommendations, let me know in the comment section. Make sure to leave a like, guys. And with that being said, YouTube family, I love you all, and I will see you all in the next video.